Hey you guys, I'm Chef D Max. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're doing peri peri chicken. So you got to stay tuned for this. Look how beautiful that is. Beautiful peri peri sauce. We've got a beautiful Mozambique coconut rice going with that and some roasted cauliflower. Can't beat it. So join it. We'll see you in a second. I'm Chef D Max. Hi guys, okay, we're back. We're gonna make this marinade first. So this got to sit overnight. So it's kind of like the only difficult part about it. It's better if it sits overnight. But I would say make this marinade, let it sit in your fridge. And then when you need to marinate stuff, you marinate stuff, you know, it's good for, I keep it for a couple weeks if it's got enough oil in it. So we're gonna quickly take a Cuisinart. Now you could do this in a mortar and pestle kind of and hand grind it. You could do it in a blender and puree it smooth. I like it a little bit of chunk to it. So I take onion. I've got one whole onion. So I'm going to stick that in here. And I'm just going to kind of pulsate this when I do it. So it's a little mini Cuisinart or chopper. I've got fresno peppers. These are red, like people call them red jalapenos because they look like jalapeno, but I don't. They're a little bit different. Sometimes they can be not as hot as a regular jalapeno. Sometimes they can be spicier. It just depends on the time of year and where you're getting them from, the heat that they're grown in, all of that. So what I'm doing is cutting the tops off of every one. I want to keep the seeds in there. So I'm just going to throw those in with the seeds in there. I want this to be spicy. This dish to me should not be something that's mild. It should have a little bit of a bite to it, okay? So we're going to cut this up, okay? So I have my chilies, medium, kind of medium small onion, garlic cloves. I've got 5 little garlic cloves here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 for each of those peppers, all right? Now, I've got some lemon zest here. I'm going to take the lemon zest and I'm going to just, you got to clean the lemon first. Make sure if you're going to use the zest that you wash the lemon really good, right? What's really good is I actually have some Moroccan lemon, kind of preserved lemons, and those work amazing with this. But I know you don't have those at home, so I'm just going to use a regular lemon so I can show you guys how this is going to be still really tasty and really perfect for you at home without having all those fancy extra ingredients. But if you see those in your travels, that's an area where you could use preserved lemon, something like this. It's got saltiness, all of that. And then with this, I'm going to take my juicer here and just juice this gently so I don't get it all over the place. Okay. So the lemon and the little bit of vinegar we're going to put in this are going to give us our acidity to this, and that's kind of very indicative of this particular sauce, is having that nice lemoniness to it as well as spiciness, right? Now, with this, we're going to also put bay leaves. I'm going to put 2 bay leaves. You can see the size, and I'll just crunch those up in there. They'll get ground up really small, so we're not going to worry about that. I put a touch of star anise. So this is a teaspoon of star anise we're going to put in there, okay? If you don't have star anise, don't worry about it. Leave it out. Not crucial. It gives a little anise flavor, which is the kind of licorice flavor, which some people don't like anyway, like fennel. So if you don't like that, leave it out. And then smoked paprika. And with smoked paprika, I'm going to put a nice tablespoon of smoked paprika in there because I love the smokiness that it gives the dish. Black pepper, just a nice squeeze. We'll put some more black pepper on the chicken when we cook it. And then I'm going to take 1 spoonful of one nice big spoonful of my tomato paste. Okay, so just any generic tomato paste that you have. Okay, we're going to put a little bit of 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of salt. I don't want to use a lot of salt because we're going to marinate the chicken with this. And whenever you're marinating chicken like that, don't put too much salt in it. You know, you're better off salting it twice. A little salt now, a little salt when we put it on the chicken, and a little salt at the end when we're ready to taste the final product. We can resalt it, but you can't take salt out, so it's better to do that. Okay. Now we're going to put about probably ½ cup of extra virgin olive oil in there. Okay, and we're going to pulsate this baby up. See how it is. All right, So let's try it. Oh, I got to turn it on. Those mistakes always happen. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I got the juice with me now, so here we go. Now what I'm doing there is I'm pulsing, I'm not just letting it go rapidly because I want a little chunk to it. If I just let it go, it's gonna be too emulsified, almost like a pureed sauce. But I want it chunky. But I do want everything ground up though. So you don't want a big chunk of garlic that you're eating, you don't want a big chunk of onion, you want everything chunked up. Whoa, yeah, there we go. All right, let's take a look at it. Wow. That's super tasty and very spicy too, which is how I like it. Now that's 5. Those are 5 Fresnos. If you didn't want it spicy, you could go and drop that back down to 2. Oh, where'd my chicken go? My chicken went right here. So here, I have just some chicken thighs. Okay, I love chicken thighs with this. So you're gonna, I've got basically 4 chicken thighs, and I've rinsed those off. You don't really want to do too much water in there, so I kind of put some paper towels on there to dampen them up a little bit. And then I'm gonna put some of my marinade in. I'm not gonna put all of it because I'm gonna save some of this. I can use this for pork chop, or we can use it for fish, shrimp. Shrimp peri peri is really nice too. And with this, I'm gonna marinate the chicken in that really nice, okay? And then we're gonna let this sit. Now you wanna let this sit overnight. It's gonna have the best results for this chicken if you let this sit overnight. So if you're in a hurry and you wanna make this and do it quickly, that's fine. You know, it'll still be tasty. It's not, you might taste a difference, you know, but not a big enough difference where you're gonna really worry about it, okay? It does develop the flavor better in the chicken, and it'll tenderize the chicken a little bit too, and it keep the chicken really juicy as well. But your chicken's still gonna be nice if you wanna make it right now and go to the process. So I'm gonna let this sit overnight, okay? And we're gonna come back tomorrow, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna saute this up and we're gonna make this great peri peri chicken. So I'll see you back soon. Hey you guys, welcome back. It's the next day after marinating that chicken, and you can see here it's, you know, it's giving off a little water. I don't really get rid of any of that. I do like to take that off though. You know, wipe off some of the marinade and dump some of that water and from the chicken. I mean, it's chicken juice. You don't necessarily need to throw that away. I'm going to actually warm that up. I'm going to warm it up in a pot with some excess, the extra like marinade that I had, and we'll make a sauce from that. So here you can see I've got this chicken. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to grab a plate. Okay, I just need to grab a plate real quick. And I want to put those on a plate like this, or you can put it on a whatever, sheet pan, whatever you have. Okay, and brush off the excess marinade. What I want to do now is I got my pan getting hot here, I'm going to turn this up because we want to saute these chicken really at a pretty high heat. So I'm going to go onto a medium-high heat. Now I'm not going to put a ton of pepper, but I do like black pepper on there, a little extra black pepper at this point on the skin, okay? And then salt. Now we already salted the marinade, so we're just going to put a little light amount of salt on the top of this, the skin of the chicken, okay? And I'll flip it to the other side, okay? And then we'll season that side as well, just a touch. Okay, we didn't over season the marinade. That I didn't make that very salty, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's why you don't make it very salty, because we're going to salt in stages. We're going to salt now. We do want to have like a nice seasoning on it when we put it in the oven. So from here, all we're going to do is add our oil. Now in the process of sauteing stuff at a high heat, what you want to always do to not overheat your oil too fast is to heat the pan first like we did. So we get the pan hot first, then we put oil in, then we get the oil hot, then we put our chicken in. That's the process, okay? So that's how you need to do your steps, okay? So here I've got plenty of oil in there. It's probably a good couple tablespoons of oil in there. We're gonna let it get hot, which it is right now. Let's see it. Yep. And I'm gonna put my chicken breast skin side down, because that's the part we want to really get a sear on. Now, if you don't like skin, you want to do boneless, you could do boneless chicken breasts, right? Or chicken thighs. But the thing is the chicken thigh gives so much flavor to this dish. I love to leave them on. Even if you're going to take them off later, take them off later. But the chicken, the fat in there, the way it protects the chicken, your meat is going to eat much better if you do this, okay? So I'm going to wash my hands, and then we're going to watch these chickens. Be back in a second. Okay, I'm back, and I'm gonna, my chicken is sauteing nicely. Let me turn it up a little bit. I'll get a little bit of, we don't have to go that fast on it. We just want to go at a good temperature. You don't want to have it simmering in there. You want it sauteing, okay? So with that excess marinade, I'm gonna just put that right here in this pot, and I'll stick that pot in the stove behind me. And I'm just going to turn that up and let that cook. Okay? We'll probably let that cook for, until the chicken's ready at a low temperature. And I basically want to cook the peppers in there. It's all fresh. You have the fresh peppers, you have the fresh onion, you have the fresh garlic, you have you've got all those fresh flavors in there, the fresh chilies. So by cooking it, you're going to allow it to do this. I'm going to take actually the lid off, because I do want it to steam off some of that water that's in those vegetables, and then we get kind of a thicker, nicer, more intense sauce. Now, I had some cauliflower left over in the fridge, so I'm going to add some cauliflower to this. You can add what other veg you want. If you want sauteed spinach, you don't have to have a veg at all. I like to always cook vegetables. I don't like to eat just meat and sauce all the time. So I like to actually cook and have vegetables. And actually, a lot of times I like to cook more vegetables than I have meat. And I think for me, meat, eating healthier is having the meat for the flavor and then the vegetables for your bulk, right? And then even your starch and stuff should be just a treat, and you eat less of that. So here what I'm doing is I'm going to cut some of the heart out of this cauliflower like this. So what I do is cut those big thick pieces off, right? I don't want to break this one down super thin, and the reason I don't is because I'm not doing a fast roast just of the cauliflower. Now you could do that if you like them really tiny. You could break them really tiny, toss them with olive oil, put them on a sheet pan. Then you can put them in the oven with the chicken separate, and take them out whenever you want it. But I'm getting a little lazy, and I'm sure you guys do this at home as well, is I want to roast it in here with the chicken. This way I can do it in one pan. I love the idea of a one-pan wonder, right? So I'm going to look at my chicken here real quick. Still needs to be sauteing more, okay? Really crispy. And because we're sauteing the chicken nice like this, it's going to take probably, not going to take very long in the oven. It might take only 10 minutes in the oven. So if you're hungry and you're having this for dinner and you want to cook it quick, you're better off leaving it in the pan longer, okay? When you leave it in the pan longer, it's going to cook better. So now these we're just going to separate into these chunks. And like I said, we're doing this into chunks because we want it to, we don't need it to cook as fast because it's going to cook with this chicken in 10 or 15 minutes. If you had these in really small, little pieces, they would cook a lot faster. So I'm not going to worry about marinating this and doing a lot to that. There's a lot of fat and oil in this, and it'll be fine on there. Okay. Let's take a look at this chicken now and see if it's getting nicely seared. Nope. Yep, you can see it got a little bit of sear on that one, and it's getting a little sear on this one. Now, I'm not worried about. Now that was what you're looking for. You see how it's nice and dark all around like this one. Now, what I'm not worried about is that I didn't get the perfect sear on this right now, because I'm going to just flip the other side and just lightly sear the other side. Now the flesh side of the chicken has no protection against it. If you sear that meat of that chicken too hard, it gets too dry, right? When you eat fried chicken, you're eating a batter around the chicken meat itself. So frying and getting it crispy is great because the meat inside stays moist. The same thing with this. The skin is going to be the moistest part. So when we flip it here, it's just to sear that raw meat on the side. It's not to put extreme color on that, okay? Because what's going to happen is we won't, we'll end up, if you put it on this flesh side too long, you'll end up drying the meat. When you cut into it, no matter how medium or like perfectly cooked through you did the chicken, the outside part that you seared will be too dry, okay? So that's why this chicken skin is so important, because when you're done cooking it, like I said, take it off. A lot of times if it's not beautifully crispy, I take it off. But I like to leave it in the pan skin side down so it really protects the meat itself from getting too overcooked. So it needs to saute a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna let it saute for a couple minutes and then we'll be right back. Okay, I let this saute for another minute or two. I'm ready to flip it back to the skin side, okay? And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck this chicken all on one side here, okay, like this, okay? And then I'm gonna lay in my cauliflower around like this. That's really, you know what, you can just put a couple pieces in there. I'll leave that for another time because that's all I'm going to need. For like 2 people, it's perfect. 2 thighs and a nice half of a head of cauliflower. So at this point, we're going to go right in the oven with this, okay? So we're going to stick this in the oven. We're going to let this roast for probably about 10 to 15 minutes, all right? And I'll see you guys back in a bit. All right, you guys, we're back, and I'm going to pull this out of the oven. I think it's probably been about 20 minutes. So I thought 10 minutes was good, but my oven was a little bit low, so we had to do 20. So that's okay. 20 minutes is perfect, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is take out my cauliflower. You can see how it's got nice color on the bottom from this dish, right? And then I'm going to put a few over here on this one too. Okay. And I'm going to take the chicken and flip it now. It should be, the skin, because it's been skin side down the whole time, is nice and crispy. And the chicken is cooked. Sometimes it'll do that, like it'll stick, in which case it's fine. It's still but it's like if you want, I would normally use a spatula. That's probably going to be the easiest. But I'm just stick it right on top like that, okay? So with this, I'm just going to put my chicken breast down here, or my chicken thigh down, excuse me. And here, you want to pull this off like this. Put my chicken thigh down. Okay, and I've got these 2 pieces here. Okay, beautiful. So with that, I don't really use any of this pan juice for this particular one because I have the sauce. So what I'm going to do to finish this sauce is I'm going to take some of this sauce has been reduced down here, and you can see kind of the thickness of it is kind of it's reduced down to almost like a tomato sauce consistency, like a Italian tomato sauce. So with that, I'm going to take a little bit of butter. And I'm going to take some cold, just good butter. Like this is good finishing butter, right? So good European style butter. And I'm just going to put probably 2 tablespoons. That looks like it's about 2 tablespoons worth of butter in there. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little bit of lemon, probably a third of a lemon. So just cut a nice squeeze of that off. And I just want fresh lemon acidity in that. And that's going to give us nice flavor. And I'm going to stir that in. Okay. And all I'm looking to do here is melt this butter down. And the butter is going to give this dish this sauce kind of a creaminess. We've taken, and by cooking it, we've reduced the water out. We've intensified the flavor. The water that's in the pepper and the garlic and the chilies all cooks down and intensifies, and that's going to have high acidity. So what we do by adding butter is it adds fattiness and creaminess and mellows out that high acidity. Even though I do add a little bit more acidity back in with the lemon, it's this fresh lemon acidity right at the end. That's perfect. Spicy, it's mellow, and like smooth. I'm gonna put a touch of salt in it. Doesn't need any pepper, that's for sure, because of the pepperiness in this. And that's ready to go. So now, I also cooked some, let me put that here. I cooked some rice. So typical, peri peri is kind of a Mozambique African dish, right? So one of the things that they would have eat is just kind of like a coconut rice would be popular. So I just put a couple pieces of garlic in here on the top and a couple pieces of ginger scraps. I like to keep the scraps of the ginger in the fridge, when you're peeling them, rather than throwing that away. It still has a lot of flavor, and I'll do it like this, and I'll put it in the rice, and then you could take that and just, all you're gonna do is take it out like this. So I have like a few rice kernels. Use your regular rice, your regular jasmine rice or basmati rice, and then take that, and if I use, this is 2 cups of rice, and I use 3.5 cups of liquid, and that liquid is 1 can of coconut milk. I measure that out, and then whatever balance I need to get to 3.5 cups I use with water, okay? And so it's 1 can of coconut milk and probably another cup of water. When I flake this up now, I put some salt in it as well. So 1 bay leaf, some scraps of ginger, 3 or 4 garlic cloves, 2 cups basmati rice, and 3.5 cups of liquid, all right? And that is gonna be, wow, perfect. It's a touch sticky from the coconut. The coconut is so nice with rice. And many cultures use it because it gives a nice flavor. And especially cultures like in Africa and in Central America, South America, where they have a lot of coconut trees, even like here in Florida, then you're gonna get beautiful flavor with that. You'll see it in a lot of cooking and a lot of cultural items, okay? Here's a random piece of chicken skin sitting right there. So I'm all about that, all right? So now, look at this dish. It looks gorgeous, right? I'm gonna take my sauce. Where did I put that? Here it is. I got my sauce here, right? I've got my nice roasted chicken. I've got my beautiful peri peri sauce like this. And I'll put some extra around. I'm gonna want some on the cauliflower as well. And man, it doesn't get better than that. So, if you like this, give me a thumbs up, okay? I'll see you back in the kitchen soon. I'm Chef Dean Max.